we need our cells healthy. So it's the health of the cells which is going to predict your health. And I love the fact that you talk about it's not just about what shows up on a blood test or in that one little sliver that is being studied about omega-3 fatty acids, that there's all of these other things that are going on that no one's paying attention to. And this isn't just the one topic that this happens to. There's so many things that the blood test will tell you one thing. And we talked to Mike Fave about cholesterol and the real reasons that we want certain levels of cholesterol and versus what's on the blood test. And I've always had high cholesterol, whether it was 20 years old or 48 years old. And I see that H that's in bright red on my blood test. I think I've done something wrong, even though I know it's a good number for me. So my point in saying all of this is that it's not just one number or one faction of what something is doing. There's all of these other little things that are going on in the body that no doctor is looking at.
Yeah, and it's true. And that's a perfect example, right? Looking at cholesterol and how the omega 3s and omega 6s affect cholesterol levels. And that's one of the main reasons the omega 3s are considered to be healthy and especially heart healthy is that they do a good job of lowering our total cholesterol and lowering LDL. And of course, that's the scapegoat when it comes to cardiovascular disease. And the really interesting thing is when we look at how the omega 3s do that, and when we look at that, it really becomes questionable as to whether this is such a good thing. So the way that this happens is when we consume these fats, they'll make their way to all of the different organ systems in our body, and that includes the liver. And in the liver, whether they're being incorporated into the membranes or into the structure of the lipids, because the liver is where we produce fats and lipids that get sent out into, in LDL. That's where we're producing these lipoproteins and sending them out into the blood. And so when the omega 3s get incorporated in there, they're very susceptible to oxidative stress because of all these double bonds that they have. And this is, by the way, the reason why in any supplement you get with omega 3s, it should be in a dark glass bottle. You're supposed to keep it away from UV light, from sunlight. You're supposed to keep it in, in a moderate temperature. And that's because these fats are really susceptible to being damaged and going rancid. That's, basically the same thing happening is they're either going rancid in the bottle or in your body. And we recognize how sensitive they are to this when they're on the shelf. And for some reason, we think that when they get introduced into our bodies that are over 98 degrees Fahrenheit and have all these oxidative processes going on, that they're going to be totally fine. But the reality is our bodies are a lot more dangerous for an unstable fat than sitting on the shelf. And even so, most of the ones that are sitting on the shelf in the dark bottles are already damaged, oxidized, and rancid. So coming back to the liver, we consume these fats, and let's say we somehow got ones that were not already rancid, and they passed through our digestive system again. Somehow they've gotten through. They're not damaged yet, which is rare because we know that whether we're consuming this in the form of fish oil or cod liver oil or some other form of an omega-3 supplement, they do get damaged in the gut as well. But let's say that didn't happen. They made it to the liver. They're totally intact. They're not damaged at all. And we try to incorporate them into the lipids, into the lipoproteins to get sent out. And in those oxidative processes, they often get damaged and it creates oxidative stress in the liver. And it actually prevents the excretion of the lipoproteins because the lipoproteins are the protein carriers that that basically carry fats and cholesterol throughout our bodies. And if they're already damaged when they're in the liver, they don't send them out, right? That acts as a signal that the liver says, this is already a damaged good. We're not going to send it out to the rest of the body to transport fats around and to transport cholesterol around. And so that happens in the liver, and that reduces the LDL export from the liver because the LDL particles have become damaged already in the liver from having the omega 3s. And so then that lowers your LDL levels. And you take your omega 3s, you cause this oxidative stress in the liver, you lower your LDL, and your doctor says, all right, great, you're improving your heart health. Not to mention that this isn't just happening and causing damage in your liver, but also in the vasculature, and in the heart and elsewhere. So it's a perfect example of how we can look at some endpoint and be really kind of persuaded that something is going to have a beneficial outcome. But when we look at how it's happening, we see that it's potentially not as beneficial as we thought.
Well, and I love that you're talking about the liver because I love my liver. Our livers are under attack already. So to think that you are increasing oxidative stress in the one organ that has so many jobs, and it's probably, I'm guessing, inhibiting the other jobs that it's supposed to do, correct? And this is not even, I loved also the fact that you brought up the rancid supplements, because before you even get them into your body, 90% of the fish oils out there are rancid before you even get them in your body. So taking a supplement, any kind of supplement that is rancid, probably is not a good decision and a waste of money. So those points were huge. And then when they're actually, if they get to where they're supposed to go in the right form, they're still causing oxidative stress, which is stress. And our livers, like I said, are already under massive stress with the toxins, the processed foods, the seed oils, the GMOs, glyphosate, all of this stuff. And this is just one more layer. Um, let's get into heart health, because that's why people like my father are taking fish oil.